Well, I know we're only at the start of July, Craig Burley, and there's a lot more signings and things that can happen before the first ball is kicked in earnest in the Premier League. But we'll try right now to get some predictions from you for the season ahead. First of all, the title winners. Is it simply a two-horse race? Is it Man City or Liverpool?
Well, it is at the moment as we speak. City having signed Haaland and Calvin Phillips, terrific players. Haaland, the big one, obviously. Can't see a reason why he won't score a bag full of goals. Somebody will have to tell me where his weak point is in his game, and he's still learning. And Liverpool have signed, they've lost money, but guess what? They've kept Mo Salah with a new contract. He's a happy chappy. He's got a few more quid in the bank. And Darwin Núñez from Benfica, 22 years old, got the lot. Physicality, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, those two don't seem any weaker, to be honest. And the rest they're very much a chasing pack. I suppose at the moment, Tottenham and Arsenal have recruited. Chelsea is a work in progress, but that's a big gap. So we're looking at two. And I think there's more hesitancy about the Darwin Núñez signing at the moment. I don't think it'll be a bad signing. I think it'll be an excellent signing. But I think there's more confidence that Haaland will just come in and hit the ground running quicker. And so for that reason, it's difficult to look past a narrow Man City title again with Liverpool pushing them hard.
Okay, that's two of the top four. Who's the other two?
Well, I have to go for Tottenham at the moment because we're 2 months away from the season, give or take, starting, or a few weeks. So there's still time for Antonio Conte to throw all the toys out the pram, the baby out with the bathwater, everything, burn the house down. There's still time for that. It's unlikely, but it's not unheard of. I think there's a very minute chance that will happen now that he's got Perisic, now that he's got Richarlison. I think, I'm not off the top of my head, I don't know if Longley is completed, but certainly it's been in the works from Barcelona. So he's beefing up that squad. And we know and you have covered a lot of Italian football over the last few years. You know how good a coach he is. You know his winning mentality. And so he's beefed up that squad pretty well. So I'm going Tottenham in the top four again. Then it becomes difficult because I wouldn't ordinarily say Chelsea with their squad. But new ownership, Rudiger gone, Christensen gone, not a lot of pace at the back, just Thiago Silva. A lot of injuries last year, particularly to Kovacic and N'Golo Kante. And of course, they've got a gaping hole up front with nobody to score goals. Now, over the next 48 hours, 6 weeks, that could change. Raheem Sterling might arrive. There's been talk about Rafinha. We just don't know. Chelsea are an unknown. Tottenham, we pretty much know. They may even add to that, Tottenham. Chelsea at the moment, we don't really know. And I think that brings the likes of Arsenal into play. And maybe Man United as well, depending on what they do. So at the moment, Chelsea are a bit of a concern. There's weeks to go, obviously, before the end of it. But they're a bit of a concern. So I'm a bit betwixt and between with my fourth team at the moment.
Okay, that's fair. Excuse me. The one thing I want to do here is get a bold prediction from you. Right, we've got Liverpool,
right,
Man City.
I'm going to go.
No. The bold prediction is which of the teams that you're not sure about are most likely to miss out on the top six. You've said Liverpool, Man City, Spurs, in whichever order. Probably Man City, Liverpool, then Spurs as your top three. You mentioned Chelsea. You mentioned Arsenal. You spoke about Man United. Which of these is most likely, with your first bold prediction of this, not to be in the top six?
Oh, Man United. But I don't think that's an extremely bold prediction, given the circumstances. I think the biggest shock would... did you say not in the top six or not in the top four?
Not in the top six, because you've spoken about the top six from last season. Obviously, Man United and Arsenal didn't get in there. The other teams did. But not in the top six. Will we see a West Ham or a
Well,
Leicester or an
Arsenal
Aston
get in the
Villa or a
top.
Newcastle?
Arsenal got in the top six last year, didn't they?
No, they did. But is there a team that might knock one of the big six out of the top six?
West Ham, Newcastle. I mean, it depends. You know, Newcastle have almost rebuilt this back four. You know, Nick Pope, Matt Targett, Dan Burn. There's another centre half I think signed recently.
Kieran Trippier, fullback as well.
Sven Botman came in as well. Has come in. So I mean, they could be an outlier for up there. I don't know. Man United at the moment. I mean, if Chelsea were not to get in the top four, that would be a huge blow, considering what they've achieved over the last 15, 20 years. But that was Abramovich money. So we just don't know. But I think, it wouldn't be a massive shock if Man United did not make a bundle of progress in 1 year.
Okay, let's look at the other end of the table. And the three teams that came up, Fulham, Bournemouth, and a team that's close to your family's heart, Nottingham Forest. So you're in a good position here. As someone whose grandson's a big Forest fan and was at the playoff final, can those three all stay up? Who's most vulnerable to relegation out of those three?
I think Forest are most vulnerable because it's been so long for them. They have foreign ownership in a Greek shipping tycoon who I don't think will yet fully grasp what it means and what it's going to take. I think Steve Cooper, the excellent young manager, will absolutely know, but it's then getting the backing. They've been on a championship budget and wage structure for over 20 years now. It's hard to change that, to be honest. So I think they'll find it the most difficult. We're already seeing the problems at Fulham. Marco Silva who did a great job, free flowing, free scoring, and I've seen some. I wouldn't be surprised if he walked before the start of the season, because I think he's already banging his head on the wall with what might be around the corner for him. Fulham have already tasted it, and so have Bournemouth to an extent, going up, playing sort of kindergarten rules with the Premier League and coming straight back down. And I think ultimately, as you know, that ends up as a sacking for a manager. Your stock's there, promotion, and then you can't win a game. Daniel Farke, Norwich City, prime example. Can't do what you did in the Championship and the Premier League and expect to survive. So I think, if you're asking me, I think Bournemouth, out of the three of them, even though they didn't win the Championship, I think with Premier League experience with a lot of those players, and I think less problems down the South Coast, I think they might have the best chance of staying up out of three. But there's no way in hell all three of them stay up. I mean, that would be a minor miracle.
So, time for another bold prediction. If just one of them stays up, that's all we need. One of them to stay up. It means one of the bigger boys who's been in the Premier League for a few years will go down. Who's most at risk from the big boys that have been in the Premier League for a few years to be relegated?
Well, they haven't been in for a few years, but I think Leeds. No Phillips, injury-ravaged season for Bamford. Best player gone, who's a regular in the England team, Calvin Phillips. Big fan of his. Looks like they're going to lose Rafinha. I mean, if you're losing a player that Chelsea and Barcelona want, you're losing a hell of a player. And you just don't go out and replace that kind of guy. So that is a big problem. We know some of the others have spent. I suppose Everton could be another shambolic season for them, depending what they do. But I'm going to say Leeds at the moment, because you can't have a season where it's as tight as it was last year, and how you were so inconsistent, and then you lose your two best players by a mile and expect to not be in a relegation fight. So I'm going to say a difficult season ahead at the moment for Leeds United.
We might be able to combine these two topics together, Player of the Year and top goal scorer, or do you have two different players for that?
Well, I think it wouldn't be a bold prediction to say Kevin De Bruyne, would it really, or somebody like that, or Mo Salah. I don't know. I've not really thought about this one. Do you know? It's a difficult. I could see Erling Haaland having a monstrous season, right? Because Man City are just going to create so many chances. Liverpool will do the same. But one guy who I think could have an even better season than he had last year, and a guy who's been super consistent, but I think could really drive this club to maybe its best season for a wee while, is Harry Kane. And the reason I say that is because it's another year under Conte and there's backup. The cavalry, to an extent, has arrived at Tottenham. Previously, he had nobody to fill in. He had nobody else to do the fighting and the running for him. He's got Lucas Moura's pace, Heung-min Son's pace, Kulusevski in there. Richarlison can fill 2 or 3 positions. And that might take some pressure off Harry Kane. And we know how consistent he is. And I think Harry Kane could have, with the continuation of the backing of Conte and maybe 1 or 2 more additions to Tottenham, I think that he could have a brilliant, brilliant season again. And I'm going to go for Harry Kane as top scorer and player of the year. Keep it in England, why not?
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.